saw the latest My Hero Academia movie, My Hero Academia You're Next, and this video will be my non-spoiler review of the movie. I will be doing a full-on breakdown of the movie, which should be dropping in a few days. That way people have the chance to see the movie, so keep an eye out for that. But today will strictly be my thoughts on the movie, and man, did I absolutely love this movie as a huge fan of My Hero Academia. But there were some things I did have a problem with. So let's get this out of the way first. My Hero Academia You're Next takes place right before the big climax of the series, the all-out war arc, which is currently being covered in the anime and is canon to the series as a whole. Now, just because it's canon and because the movie takes place during a major point in the series does not mean that you can't enjoy the movie. You're Next pretty much acts as its own thing. Yes, it's canon and characters from the movie have already made an appearance in the anime, but you aren't really required to know what's happening outside of the movie to really enjoy the movie. And I did take my sister to go see the movie, and she has really only seen the first season of My Hero Academia, and she really enjoyed the movie. Now, let's get into what the My Hero Academia Your Next movie is all about. The basic premise of the movie sees Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto leading teams comprised of Class A students. They all respond to a crime involving a kidnapping of one of the brand new movie characters, Anna Servino. The group involved with the taking of Anna is led by the main villain of the movie, Dark Might, a mysterious man who has stolen the identity of All Might and wants Anna because of her powerful quirk. The group he leads is comprised of the Jorini family, one of the most dangerous mafia crime families from Europe. Deku forms an uneasy alliance with Giulio, the former butler of Anna, who happens to be dead set on assassinating her as the heroes get trapped within Dark Might's fortress. Now the heroes must save Anna and stop Dark Might from causing havoc on an already destroyed Japan and ruining the legacy of All Might. First, let's start off with the good, Anna and Giulio. These two are some of the new characters brought in for the movie, and man, are they very compelling. Throughout the movie, they get the perfect amount of development to where you actually care about them a lot, which does lead into the romance aspect of things, since this movie prior to release was stated to have romance elements within it, and that does come from Anna and Giulio. And while some might find issue with romance being in a superhero movie, it didn't really take anything away from the movie at all. If anything, it really did enhance my enjoyment of it. Next, we have Dark Might. Dark Might, in all honesty, was a blast to watch on screen. The dude was an absolute menace. He was a man obsessed with All Might and decided to twist everything he stood for to become the next symbol. He was definitely over the top with his theatrics in a good way. That really did feel like if All Might were to be a villain, this would kind of be what he would act like. And I found that truly fun. On top of that, seeing Dark Might go all out in his fight against Deku, Shoto, and Bakugo was an absolute spectacle. Which this leads me into my next point. The animation for the movie was honestly insane. And I find myself saying that about all of the My Hero Academia movies, but this was a different level of amazing. Not once did I feel the animation during any of the fights were lacking in any way, and I will say some of the CGI implemented in the movie was a little jarring at times, but it never really took me out of the movie, and at times it did enhance some aspects of the fights. Speaking of fights, the fights were all great, from Class A to the pro heroes getting in on some of the action, and especially Deku, Shoto, Bakugo, and Dark Might. They were all greatly choreographed, and if you're anything like me, will have you super pumped seeing everyone in action, especially when it comes to seeing Deku, Bakugo, Shoto, and Dark Might in action. As for our trio, it's always a good time seeing Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto interact, especially seeing them all take on these big roles in leading their own teams. It really showed how much these heroes have grown throughout the series, and I also love that they all have this special connection to All Might in their own ways. So seeing someone use All Might's face and willingly try to ruin the legacy of the hero they all looked up to definitely made this really personal for them, and does really hit hard as they are the reflection of what All Might left behind. They are meant to be the next ones to continue where All Might left off, and it really hit hard. Also, to finally see Deku, Bakugo, and Shoto team up was just phenomenal. The premise, the action, the characters were all great, but now we have to get to the bad, or just certain things I really didn't like or felt indifferent about when it came to certain parts of the movie. First, we have the henchmen slash creatures in the film. For me, these creatures that fought for Dark Might were just a little too goofy looking for me. I felt that with Dark Might taking on the look of All Might, the design of these creatures being these weird ape things didn't really make sense. Why couldn't they just look like evil looking All Mights? It would have been a lot more fitting thematically for what was going on in the movie, and it really did feel like a missed opportunity when it came to those creatures. Next, which I'm a little indifferent about, is the majority of Class A. Now, this doesn't really bother me that much, as Class A do get moments to shine, but that's about it. They don't really do much else besides have tiny little moments, and for me, I'm completely fine with that. The movie has a ton of characters in it, so giving every single character from Class A big or significant moment would be asking for a lot, and it's not like other anime movies that have as big of a cast as My Hero Academia gives every single person a significant moment. I know some might be disappointed hearing this, but at least they do have their moments to shine during the fights, which is really all I could ask for. Next up is Dark Might, surprisingly. Don't get me wrong, I really did like seeing Dark Might as a villain. He was enjoyable to see in action, but I felt that he should have had somewhat of a deeper connection to All Might other than just being a guy who takes his identity. This could just be a me problem, but again, this wasn't something that made me hate or dislike Dark Might at all. He was still an amazing and fun villain to watch on screen. I just felt like the reveal that came with Dark Might fell really flat. Of course, if we're talking about Dark Might, we have to talk about the Jorini family. And really, I'm indifferent about them because in reality, we are just here for Dark Might. But they weren't bad side villains at all. And their quirks were actually very interesting, and it was fun to see Class A finding ways around them to come out on top. Overall, this movie was great and a fun ride from beginning to end. The movie doesn't go out of its way to mess with the canon and does expand on the world in a fun way, giving us this group of Italian mafia villains for our heroes to go up against. The action was a 10 out of 10. The animation was a 10 out of 10. The story, I'd give it a solid 8 out of 10. As a whole, for me, the movie is a 9 out of 10. And in terms of how this movie stacks up against the others, which I will say is a hard thing to do because I genuinely don't think that there is a single bad My Hero Academia movie, and I genuinely feel that each My Hero Academia movie has been better than the last in different ways because each movie does offer something different in terms of what it's going for. And for me at least, this movie does take the title of the most fun and action-packed My Hero Academia movie and is up there with Heroes Rising, which for a lot of people, Heroes Rising is the best My Hero Academia movie of all time. All in all, I'd say my final official rating for the My Hero Academia Your Next movie gets a rating of 8 out of 10, which the only reason why it's an 8 is because of what I didn't like about Dark Might and honestly the creatures that fight Class A. I feel like those aspects of Dark Might and those creatures really did hold me back from liking the movie a lot more. Everything else though was absolutely amazing, and if you are a huge fan of the My Hero Academia series, you really don't want to miss what this movie has to offer because it will surprise you in a lot of different ways and is going to be a fun joyride from beginning to end. And honestly, what else could you ask from a My Hero Academia movie besides it being just more My Hero Academia? With that said, if you enjoyed the video and found the review helpful, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button, and if you are new to the Kitaroki channel, then be sure to subscribe to the channel with notifications on so that you don't miss any My Hero Academia videos. With that said, I'll see you all in the next one.